Okay, so now let's talk about cognition and communication. Chimpanzees are renowned for sophisticated tool use and cultural variation, and I'm pretty sure you have seen videos all across the internet of chimps using tools, especially the observation studies done by Jane Goodall, the pioneer in behavioral studies of chimpanzees. Anyway, across Africa, different chimp communities use tools in kind of unique ways. This phenomena is also called chimp culture. Classic examples include termite fishing, where chimps use sticks to fish termites or ants out. And then there's also nut cracking, where hammer and anvil stones are used to crack nuts. Then there is leaf sponging, where chimps use folded leaves to soak up water. And then there is probe fishing for resources such as honey. Systematic surveys have documented dozens of behavioral relations. One comprehensive study, and that's on my screen, identified at least 39 distinct behaviors that vary culturally among chimp populations, of which many involve tool use. So one population is different from another, and how they use their tools is different from each other. And it's not just about the tool use. It also involves other social and grooming customs. So one group might groom their individuals in a different way compared to other, or they might groom in a social class. They might groom certain individuals more than other, and it differs between the populations. For example, just to give you an example, there. Let me think. Nut cracking. I think in East Africa, if I'm not wrong, East African chimps habitually crack nuts with stones. However, this behavior is kind of absent in some regions, so that kind of really puts into emphasis how different population contributes in a different way, and why it is important to look at conservation on a population scale. Although landscape level conservation is required, however, when it comes to certain behaviors like this, which is documented behavior that is different across population, that kind of lays the importance to conserve these chimp population on a population level as well. Anyway, and from compared to these Eastern African chimps, West African chimps are famously specialized famous for specialized fishing probes for driver ends. These kind of localized customs are also transmitted socially, where young chimps learn by observing and imitating their mothers and group mates. In captivity and in the wild, chimpanzees usually adopt new skills demonstrated by others, even when they could not invent the solutions alone. So by that, what I mean is that this trait, like how we learn to speak, right? How we learn to walk, how we learn to talk, how we learn to use R and code. Most of it is learned in a way that is done by others, right? We kind of like Newton's special tool, building on the shoulders of giants. That really matters, because if you are seeing something and then you're learning, and then you can really innovate on it. And in a similar way, that's what's happening with chimps as well. And I'll talk about this later. I have this entire small case study that I'll talk about, where it's shown that, or it's seen that this trait learning, the skill learning, is kind of matrilineal. Anyway, a very recent 2024 study shows that chimpanzees, and I'll make sure that I have all the citations on the description of the podcast or show note captions, and also on the screen for you guys to verify and read more about. But this 2024 study showed that chimpanzees learned a novel puzzle box task only via social demonstration, where individual chimpanzees were uh, where certain individual chimpanzees were failing to innovate individually, kind of succeeded in that box puzzle experiment once shown by a conspecific, which again drives home the point that you can learn by looking at others and then innovate on it. Now, findings like this kind of again indicate that chimpanzees can exhibit individual innovation. Their cultural traditions often depend on imitation and teaching. Additionally, chimps combine and modify and sometimes even share tools. For instance, mothers have been filmed in Congo actively teaching termite fishing by handing specialized probes to their infants, and like I told it's matrilineal. This learning is matrilineal, which again is important. Like in a nutshell, no pun intended, chimpanzees possess one of the richest non-human tool repertoires ever known, and they maintain a distinct technologies that persist kind of across generations. Now let us talk about problem solving and theory of mind. Chimps are keen problem solvers and show elements of complex social cognition. They can plan and use insights when retrieving food or using tools, and they even adapt their strategies to new situations. For example, inventing new ways to release inaccessible fruit. Okay, before we delve deeper into chimp in relation to theory of mind, let us understand what it is. Let us understand what is theory of mind. Theory of mind is basically, to put it very succinctly in a very plain words, the cognitive ability to understand that others have their own thoughts. They have their own thoughts, they have their own beliefs, desires, and intentions. Now, researchers have probed whether chimps understand others' mental states, i.e., the theory of mind. While chimps generally struggle with classic, this false belief task, unlike adult humans, eye tracking experiments reveal that apes can anticipate another's action based on what that individual has seen or believes. In the same 2016 Nature study that we kind of discussed earlier, it was found that using anticipatory looking great apes, which are chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, showed gaze patterns indicating they expected a human actor to search where he believed an object was, even when that belief was false. And this again suggests that chimps, like other apes, have some implicit understanding of others' beliefs or knowledge, at least in a spontaneous non-verbal context. Overall, cognitive abilities approach those of human children on many tasks. For example, chimps are good at perspective taking, which is knowing what others can or cannot see, and then there is cooperative problem solving and understanding goals. Although they perform below adult human levels on causal reasoning and a certain abstract tasks, but they routinely outperform most other species in tool-related intelligence and social strategy.